All right, so we're continuing in Exodus with chapter 4, and this is just so amazing. The imagery that God gives to Moses is equivalent to what Jesus did as signs for us that he is going to set us free, or that he did set us free. So verse 1 in chapter 4. Then Moses answered, "What if they won't believe me and will not obey me, but say the Lord did not appear to you?" And you can imagine people thinking that about Jesus. How do we know that you are God in the flesh? Verse 2, the Lord asked him, "What is that in your hand?" "A staff," he replied. Then he said, "Throw it on the ground." He threw it on the ground and it became a snake. Moses ran from it, but the Lord told him, "Stretch out your hand and grab it by the tail." So he stretched out his hand and caught it, and it became a staff in his hand. "This will take place," he continued, "so they will believe that the Lord, the God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has appeared to you." And man, what a great picture that is of Jesus, that the snake is symbolic of Satan and demons. And what did Jesus do? He drove out demons, right? So at one point there were no demons. All fallen angels were just angels that were obedient to God. And then Satan decided he wanted to be God. He convinced a third of the angels to leave God, and they became demons. And these demons, you can see in the Gospels how they tormented people. And what did Jesus do? Jesus made them ineffective. He drove them out. So imagine that staff, it wasn't hurting anyone. Bam, that staff became a snake. And then when Moses grabbed it, it turned back into a staff, and it was harmless again, or at least as harmless as a staff could be. And that's what Jesus did. So what a great picture of that. Now, not only did Jesus do that while he was here on earth, that's the big picture. Look at the big picture. Before the Garden of Eden, there were no snakes. There were no fallen angels. There are fallen angels. All right. Jesus is going to come back. He's going to bind Satan for 1,000 years. He's going to let him go for a little bit to tempt people, right? That's the purpose. That's why God is allowing Satan to exist in the fallen angels. And he hasn't driven them out. He hasn't imprisoned them yet. Is because they are simply here to test us. He's using them to test our faith. And so he's going to do that at the end of the 1,000-year reign of Christ. Satan's going to bring an army against Jesus, which is crazy. People are living under the literal kingship and physical kingship of Jesus, and Satan's able to convince them that they don't want to be with Jesus. Isn't that crazy? So, Satan, the purpose of Satan is weeding people out, right? Exposing those who want to be independent from God. It's not that, he's just revealing what's inside of people, right? That's all temptation is. It reveals what's inside of people. So, and then after that 1,000-year reign, Jesus will throw Satan and the fallen angels into the lake of fire forever. So again, just like the snake was temporary, so the fallen angels and their influence is temporary. All right, next. Verse 6, in addition, the Lord said to him, "Put your hand inside your cloak." So he put his hand inside his cloak, and when he took it out, his hand was diseased like snow. Then he said, "Put your hand back inside your cloak." He put his hand back inside his cloak, and when he took it out, it had again become like the rest of his skin. "If they will not believe you and will not respond to the evidence of the first sign, they may believe the evidence of the second sign." So again, what a great picture of what Jesus did. That Jesus drove out disease, right? Like this, his diseased hand, which I believe was leprosy. And so Jesus did that when he was here on earth. And again, this is the bigger picture. Disease is a momentary thing. You guys need to realize that. Before the garden, before Adam and Eve sinned, there was no disease. There was only health. There was only ease. There was only comfort. The opposite of disease is ease. It's comfort. And so what does sin bring? What did the temptation of Satan bring? It brought sickness and death, right? And what did Jesus do? Jesus, while he was here on earth, he healed people and he rose people from the dead. Isn't that amazing? So Jesus, this confirms that Jesus is from God. Number one, he took care of the snakes. He took care of the fallen angels, the demons. All right. And he healed diseases. And that's a picture of what we're going to enjoy in the 1,000-year reign of Christ and the new heaven and the new earth, that we are going to be at a place with no snakes, no fallen angels, no demons, no temptation. And then we're going to be at a place with no disease, right? A complete comfort, right? Because the opposite of disease is ease. It's comfort. All right. And then, verse 9, and if they don't believe even these two signs or listen to what you say, take some water from the Nile and pour it on the ground, the dry ground. The water you take from the Nile will become blood on the ground, man. Then that is the third sign of Jesus, that he spilled his blood. Out of him flows a river of living water. And he died on the cross for us, and he is, in him is life, and in him is that water that we need to satisfy the thirst. We were made to enjoy God. We were made to enjoy his presence, which is symbolic by water. And he spilled that on the ground as blood for our sins. So what a great picture this is. This is God telling Moses how he will convince the people that he is from God and that he will set them free. And it lines up with Jesus and what Jesus did to convince us that he came from the Father. He is God in the flesh. He is the one who created us, and he's the only one who can set us free. So if you haven't accepted Jesus, accept him and experience the freedom that comes from living for him.